Okay, I kind of ran into an uncommon situation for me here in this song. It's kind of a country kind of song that, well, it's not a country song, but it definitely feels like some kind of Nashville thing from my perspective. All right, so let's listen to kind of the verse so you know what's going on here before we get into what's going on with the drums.
Ever be free 365 days. Oh, that's a lot to pay.
Okay, so that's what's going on in the verse. Now, when we get to the chorus, things change here, and so we'll see. This is before. This is not my after. This is what I kind of started with, I guess you could say.
Oh, they can try all they want, but they can't keep me tied up like a puppy dog. You'll see. Not long till I'll be gone running these streets. God knows this will never last, Brother John, I won't let it be.
So we kind of switch up. We're rocking right there, I guess is the point. Now, I wish those guitars were a little bit tighter. That's kind of throwing me off, but what are you going to do? Too late for that. Whatever context I had them in before, they seem to work, so I don't know. It's my fault. Anyway, we're back to the drums. Now, the one thing that leaps out at me first is we don't have any snare going on here. Let's check out this one more time, focusing on the drums.
Oh, they can try all they want, but they can't keep me tied up like a puppy dog. You'll see. Not long till I'll be.
Okay, so there's no snare, but we need this thing to be big. And what we are getting is a quarter note kick drum, I believe. You know, ooh, 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 ooh. This is, again, in my head, we're going for the kind of the live AC/DC kind of sound, or what I would imagine the big arena type of thing. So what I did was I got a little blend of trigger and my real kick, mostly just to save time. I can usually EQ my kicks to get pretty close to the trigger stuff if I got span out and I'm eyeballing it. But in this case, it was just faster for me to use trigger to get what I wanted. And one thing that I did here was I used the Black Album NRG reverb. The Black Album, obviously has a big old, massive amount of ambience on it anyway. But what I like about it is also has a lot of the kick attack. Well, that kick attack comes across pretty well in this particular sample here, and I rendered that down. I turned off all the other ones and rendered it because I knew I was going to mess with it. And with Trigger is really awesome for giving you these different options. We can layer up to 6 different snares and stuff, and including their little ambiences. That's fine and everything, but when I want to mess with it, well, I can't compress that and that kind of stuff. And as far as I know, I don't know how to render it out to different buses or anything like that. I don't know if that's possible or not yet. But it doesn't matter. I like working with the WAV file format. And so here's my Black Album reverb. So let's see what that sounds like. Actually, hang on, I'm cheating. This is what it sounded like. Yeah, not as cool, huh? But anyway, that is a big old monstrous ambience. So the first thing I did whenever I heard this song was that it definitely needs ambience on the kick. We don't always need that, and in fact, sometimes they go stadium type rock things, and you don't have any, and the snare and the rest of the drums are kind of doing it all, and the kick's kind of just going, boom or whatever. Well, let's go ahead and listen to this thing with this in here, what I got first.
Oh, they can try all they want, but they can't keep me tied up like a puppy dog.
Well, we can't hear it. That's because when I mixed this thing, I added alloy, and I did add quite a bit of 8K, and it's really wide. More importantly, I don't know if the 8K would be enough, so hang on, let's hear what we had just with the 8K boost.
They can try all they want, but they can't keep me tied up like a puppy.
That helps, but what really set this thing off was the exciter. And I am got the drive all the way up, which let me show you what that does. It's not as intense as you may think. Okay, here's 0. And on 15, all the way up. It's adding subtle crap. But what's happening, and I can't hear it so much on the headphones, is the width. Let's see, we'll go to 0. and we go to all the way. You guys listening on stereo speakers are going to hear that get much wider. And this is a concept that probably should be its own other video. I think I will make its own other video. But for now, I guess I'll say we've already covered it. Hopefully you've already watched that future video. If we go wide, upper mid-range and top-end frequencies have a way of cutting. For some reason, the nature of stereo width and omnidirectional low end, I don't know, it sounds like a AES paper, doesn't it? Anyway, some reason that stuff cuts. And so if you have kind of a halfway dull thing that you want to cut in the mix a whole lot more, just widen it will almost always get you there. For one, you're not competing with the same space with other things, but more so we are going to add upper mid-range to top. I don't know why it is, but it sure gives the effect that we did. Of course, we already did as well. So now when we blend this dude in there, okay, without my Black Album kick.
They can try all they want, but they can't keep me tied up.
All right, and with it.
Tied up like a puppy dog, you'll see. Not long till I'll be gone.
And what I love about that, like that really starts sounding like Lord of the Rings to me. There's a certain tribalness to it, or certain, orcs beating on 18 feet tall drums. I don't know. I just really like that, how it becomes some kind of, it gets, I don't know. That didn't remotely express how I feel, but either way, that excites me. But the kick still isn't what I want. The kick is still a little bit sissy. This is the kind of thing, I'm big on this concept of water music, where people go on a float trip. That's a common thing here in Missouri. We don't really have lives. I don't really get out much. Anyway, you float down a river and you get drunk. The point here is that if you are at a water location, there will be some person with a pickup truck and with probably a better than average factory stereo, and you will hear some country song with a kick will be going boo, 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 boo. It's a natural part of that kind of music. Rock music is actually behind in the low end punch of kicks, unfortunately, which was a hard thing for me to learn, which is why I make sure I do my damnedest. But anyway, so this kick has to hit, and on my monitors, I had it going pretty good. I'm kind of redoing it here for you guys, so it might be a little bit off, and the headphones don't tell me much. But let's see what we got here by turning this thing way up, and I want to feel it. I want to know it's there for sure. It's one of the main instruments.
Like to play. They can try all they want, but they can't keep me tied up like a puppy dog. You'll see. Not long till I'll be gone running. God knows this will.
And I got a feeling that's quite a bit of low end right there, and that's the problem. On my headphones, I'm not hearing it, which this is just another damn reason to have a pair of headphones you trust, just to give you a second opinion on all this stupid stuff. I know I've got a lot of attack in this particular kick. Let's solo it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the Black Album kick right there. Maybe some kind of conglomeration of well, I can check, I guess. Why not? We have the time. Let's see. I'm using a little bit of the AC/DC kick for the big low end bottom. No reverb. And then the Black Album, 1 decibel down. So basically a 50-50 blend of AC/DC and Metallica, which we've effectively done the Beavis and Butthead kick drum. How about that? That was a funny accident. Okay, anyway. What I'm going to do is get more attack, and it's really easy to say, well, why? We've already got it sounding like half of the Black Album, right? Well, I don't really care, and this is one of those things, a whole other rant here, I guess. This is one of those things where people are like, well, how much EQ should I add? And like, is using 4 decibels too much? And I'm like, well, it is if it's too much, and it's not if it's not enough. And in this particular case, maybe we have the most spiky, attacky kick drum on the planet. Well, we need to get more spiky and more attacky. The rules of this game have dictated it, and probably because I have a distorted vocal and just, really distorted guitars, that we've got all this upper mid-range junk. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. I don't care. All I know is I believe my solution is to add attack, and so I'm going to. Of course, where am I going to add attack? I don't even know. It really just depends on what these headphones tell me. Attack can go down rarely, but even 1K sometimes. 2K starts getting that kind of quacky sound, which can be useful. But I usually am more of a 5K and a 10K kind of guy. But let's just see. Oh, this has to be done in context for sure.
Like a puppy dog, you'll see.
All right, that's the frequency I want. Now I just got to figure out how much of it I want, because I don't want 12 decibels, I can tell you that.
Running these streets, God knows this will never last. Brother John, I won't let it be.
All right, just to make sure I'm not confusing you guys and making this sound like junk, I'm going to switch to my monitors real quick. So give me just a second to listen to this.
Try all they want, but they can't keep me tied up like a puppet dog. You'll see. Not long till I'll be gone running these streets. God knows this will never last. Brother John, I won't let it be.
Okay, something changed, and I got a feeling I know what it was. Right before this video, I tossed an exciter on the drum bus, which I've never done before in my life. I was really curious to see what it would do, and I got a feeling we're overloading somewhere, so I was going to bypass this. This was a trick I was going to use to widen the entire drum bus just for these choruses, which is the next thing I was going to cover. So let's listen to that one more time, once again.
They can try all they want, but they can't keep me tied up like a puppet dog. You'll see. Not long till I'll be gone running these streets. God knows this will never last.
Okay, well, that wasn't it. So what we've got is a situation where this kick it just isn't loud enough. And I know I had it cranked, last night when I started this mix, but for whatever reason, it's not where it was. So we're just going to keep on turning it up, I guess. I don't really have an explanation, and that happens sometimes. So actually, mix changes every single second, every day. So let's listen to this thing with I got it boosted 6 decibels now.
They can try all they want, but they can't keep me tied up. Not long till I'll be gone running these streets. God knows.
Okay, here's some troubleshooting I'm doing. And I guess this could be another video too, but here we are, so we're doing it. My kick isn't loud enough, and I'm turning it up, and it's still not giving me what I want. And I know this thing was wrecking my sub last night, in a good way. I mean, just pow, pow. It was exactly what I wanted. And now it isn't. And I know I turned the toms up at one point. The toms were quite a bit more subtle than this. So I have a bus I keep for toms. How convenient. And I'm going to mute those, and I want to see what my 2-bus compressor is doing. I always mix into a 2-bus compressor just because of stuff like this. And normally I only like to have maybe 1 dB of reduction on this thing. So let's see what it's doing with the toms off. Okay, we're definitely compressing that kick more than I generally like. So I'm going to turn the compression down, which might mean we might get too loud and overload the stereo bus brick wall limiter. So let's go and get that thing that's barely working. We probably have a goofed up gain structure, and in a younger time with less knowledge, I would have went back and realized, because I know I'm probably going over 0 going into the stereo bus right now. Well, I don't care anymore, because I've read my homework, or done my homework on floating point math, and as long as we don't hear distortion and it's not clipping on the 2-bus, there is no distortion. So that's another fish to fry, but you guys can do your homework on it. You'll see you can't really clip within the mix, so I don't care. I'm not going to waste my time on it. So let's see where we are.
They can try all they want, but they can't.
Something is still weird, and another thing I was hearing was a tom that had some kind of 180 hertz, like is that tom 1? I know I had that fixed too, so maybe I opened the wrong damn mix or something. I do that kind of stuff sometimes. What I'm going to do is, instead of relying on automation for a second, but we know I had the kick just right. There, so maybe it's just an issue of those new distorted vocals and whatever. Not a big deal. We don't have to go through a big old mess on that. I want you guys to learn stuff from me, but it doesn't help when I'm sitting here, twiddling my thumbs. Okay, so anyway, in this video, what I did want to show you, we'll kind of hard to forget the kick, but we're going to assume it's good enough for now and kind of run with it. But what I really wanted to show you was all I had to do to really make this kick come alive in particularly was was use render down the Black Album ambience from Trigger. And you could do this a million different ways. You don't have to use Trigger. You could use a reverb. Doesn't matter. But use the Black Album ambience, and then I opened up Alloy, gave it a little bit of, about a 6 decibel boost to 8K, real wide, and used a widener to get that thing way more audible in our dense mix here, which is obviously so dense I can't even get my damn kick drum where I want it. But at least in these headphones. Maybe I'm just an idiot. Anyway, so I think it pretty much covers it. Hope you guys liked it. Thanks. Bye.